Do me a favor, as you find a seat, why don't you reach for your Bible today? We're going to take a moment. We're going to look at God's Word. And I want to share a few things with you. And then we're going to go ahead and break out into our teams, into some of our specific areas. If I can have, maybe just, that's good back there. You want to throw that up there for me, Pedro? Put your hands together for Pedro Tuma. Recently joining the stage team. We're really grateful for him. So many cool resources being given out, by the way. I love this culture guide. I just want to make sure I'm putting value on it. This is something to take home, to look at, especially a lot of you new team leaders in here. This is probably one of the most priceless, I think, resources we put together that just kind of brings you up to speed for really the last 4 years. I know we're celebrating 3 years in 2 weeks, but those of us who've really been on the journey know it's been a 4-year journey. And there's a lot of language in there that I think that you should learn. One of the best ways to design a culture is to have original language. And so just a second ago, if it's your first time here, Jose Antonio was throwing out all sorts of stuff, CCB and base camp and PCO and process cues. And if you're like brand new to our church, you're like, what? Is that tongues? Is that what they mean when they say speaking in tongues? But it's actually just some language that means a whole lot to us that are around here, and that guide is your way to learning that. And so maybe there's some things in there you see that right away that's missing. Let us know. This is an ongoing document that we're going to continue to improve and better. We met early in January. How many of you were at our team leaders meeting in January? Where are we at? Does anyone remember what I talked about gaining ground back? Remember that? And January was our kind of every year we do 21 days of prayer and fasting in January, then again in August. I like these 21 days of prayer and fasting. It's like a good, healthy reset, I think, for all of us. But we kind of started the year, and I passed out a book called Good to Great. And we know Chip read Good to Great, praise God. I'm hoping a few of us, Chip gave a recap a couple months ago, and I'm telling you what, I was like, we should just close the meeting right now. That was so thorough and helpful. But maybe you haven't read that book. There's still time before the year's out to finish Good to Great. But I just thought, before the year is out, that you need to continue to be sharpening yourself. I think leaders are learners. Leaders are readers. And so a book that's really impacted myself along with our team this past summer is this book called The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni. And the whole book is really about organizational health. In fact, the tagline is why organizational health matters most in business. And I think that's the truth. I think that culture trumps everything, from your family to your church to your business. You need to focus on culture. And so this whole book is really kind of narrowing down how you do that. And I read it. I was impacted by it. I had our staff read it because I wanted them to be impacted by it. I thought, you know what? We should not keep all of this gold to ourselves. And so, come on, it's Book Club of the Month. It's August. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody's getting a copy of The Advantage. Bring them out, bring them out, bring them out. Come on, pass them down. Let's go. Who likes free books? They're not really free. You serve every week. We're grateful for you. Now, make sure you get the copy. I actually addressed to each and every one of you individually. There's a note to you. So make sure you find your name and the note that I wrote to you. I'm kidding. I'm not that good. Okay. How great would that be? Chris, make sure we're passing these out. We're pumped about this, but this is a book that really has impacted me, and I believe it's going to impact you as well. And as these are coming down the aisles, we should make Advantage merch, and people would really go crazy. Like an Advantage hoodie, The Advantage. Shout out to everybody who was really wise this morning and heard from the Lord to wear the red VU shirt. We got Jesus over here. My friend, thank you guys so much. God bless you guys. We're feeling good about it. Those of you, maybe just by a show of hands, you would say this is your very first team leaders meeting. Where are those people at? I want to see it. Look at this. Very first one. It's not your first team leaders, is it? What's your name? Andrea. What team do you serve on? A team. Make some noise for Andrea. First ever team leaders meeting. I was thinking, just as I was kind of coming in today, it's funny because for a lot of you today, this is your very first team leaders meeting. If you don't know what team leaders is, it's like our church began. I think this might have been our very first type of meeting that we ever really had. And it's been really cool to watch as they grow. They started at a cafe and they started on Saturdays. They eventually went to our apartment. They, at one point, I think we did a couple at 900 Biscayne, and then eventually they made their way over here to headquarters. And it's just been cool to watch it evolve. In fact, I wanted to call on a couple people. Maybe Nick Deventa, we'll start with you. Maybe just, can you remember, first, can we get him a microphone if there's one around there? Maybe just bring that over to him. This is like the Phil Donahue show. If you don't know who Phil Donahue is, you're pretty young. But first team, what was the first team leaders meeting ever even like? What, can you remember it? Because you were at the first one.
First team leaders meeting had to have been at Buena Vista Deli, which is about 5 blocks from here. So
Buena Vista Deli.
never forget that place. Those croissants were special, man. Those croissants were incredible. But it was just a few of us gathering there at this deli, and I think it's really special, really cool to look back at that moment and be able to see all that God has done. We saw this, we visualized this.
Right, like none of
We
this.
see this could happen. But I think it was just, for me, a really special time just to be a part of that small beginning. Just so cool to see what God has done in such a short period of time. It's pretty cool.
What did we do at that meeting, Nick?
We ate croissants.
Okay.
We just,
Why did we do that meeting? Can you even remember?
why did we do it?
Yeah, what were we planning? There was nothing, if I recall. Yeah, there was nothing.
He wasn't around. We were just talking, dreaming, planning. I think we were assigning tasks to each other, just trying to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Right there among us, we didn't have to send an email out. We're all there.
Yeah. It's good.
Just dreaming for the future, dreaming for this moment of planning, organizing, hearing from you and Pastor DC's heart.
And how often did we do it back then? Do you remember?
It was every Saturday. Every Saturday morning.
Got to get something going. I'm going to be here every Saturday. Okay. Yeah, every Saturday. Yeah, right. Oh, I'm going to call on someone else. Michelle. I'm going to call on Michelle Molina. Do you remember? Can we get her a microphone or we'll just pass it? Here we go. Look, I like this production team. You guys using headsets now? Oh my gosh, this is really serious. Okay, I didn't tell you if I want to call them. But do you remember what was your first? Because you weren't at. I don't think you were there at the deli. What was your?
I wish I was. Those croissants sound amazing.
Yeah, right.
But I think it was in your apartment.
Okay.
And we were meeting, I think maybe once a month on a Saturday, and it must have grown to maybe like 30 people. I want to say 30
Yeah.
to 40 people. It was.
And what do you recall? Do you remember? Do you have any memories at all? It doesn't have to be deep by any means. I'm just curious. Like, what do you remember?
That we had the very first growth track there.
Yes.
It was like a hybrid.
Yeah.
On Saturday, 4 hours.
It was a fast track growth track. I think we did all 4 steps in an hour and a half, You guys got it? You guys good? All right, we're good. Let's go. Everyone's completed. That is true. I remember that. That is true. Who else? Yeah, we're not supposed to tell people that, but that's probably what happened. Someone else. Let's go to Jeff Grosser. Jeff Grosser, can we pass him a microphone? I haven't told anyone. What's your first, when was your first team leaders meeting? Why'd you come? What do you remember? No, I mean, I was like, that's awful,
I started about a year ago, guest relations.
Okay.
Came over from Welcome. So it was here. I don't really know what I recall about it. It was special, it was cool, it was insightful.
Beautiful. I like that. Put your hands together for Jeff Grosser, father of 2. And if you love that bacon as much as I did, you should thank this man because they organized it today. I wanted to use some of that today as we kind of begin because it's amazing so often in life how life is made up of doing the same thing but differently. That's actually what I want to chat about a little bit today, and I want you to look at Genesis with me, chapter 6, verses 5 through 8. We're going to pass the microphone to one more person. Let's pass the microphone to Erica Vasquez, and I'm going to have. As we're passing the mic to her, can we bring that scripture up on the screen? I also want to introduce my friends. These guys are from Gateway Church. This is Pastor Derek and Nicole Dunn. These guys are amazing. Put your hands together for these guys. Gateway is one of the leading churches in America, and Derek is from Shreveport, Louisiana, been friends of ours for many, many years. And they just are spending the weekend with us hanging out. And we happen to have a team leaders meeting, and they're coming to church tomorrow. I think they're going to be at the JDD location in the morning. And I think you guys are coming to the 6 p.m. Mayhem service that night and partying with us for a family dinner afterwards. But we're grateful you guys are here. We believe in both of you a whole lot. And we just love you guys. We love the fact of what you're doing in Texas. And we believe the call of God on your life. We affirm it. And we're excited to hang out with you this weekend. So thank you for coming. One more time. Give them a round of applause. Okay. Eric, you're going to help me preach Genesis chapter 6. This is the Message version because I wanted to really make this for all the new people that are here today. I want to make it simple enough. But why don't you read this verse for us? We're going to read along. But if you're taking notes, write this scripture down. Genesis chapter 6, verses 5 through 8. And Erica is going to begin to read.
God saw that human evil was out of control. People thought evil, imagined evil, evil from morning to night. God was sorry that he had made the human race in the first place. It broke his heart. God said, I'll get rid of my ruined creation, make a clean sweep. People, animals, snakes and bugs, birds, the works. I'm sorry I made them. But Noah was different. God liked what he saw in Noah.
Look at that line there. But Noah was, what's the word? Different. But Noah was different. God liked what he saw in Noah. I want to take a few moments today. I want to speak from this subject to leaders, especially here. Same, but different. Same, but different. I remember, you guys have heard me tell the story a lot of times, but when I was 17 years of age, that's when I really had my kind of God encounter moment where I really encountered Jesus. My life was changed upside down, and I came back. I was in Australia, and I came back to high school. And at high school, if I'm being honest with you, I wasn't always the most positive influence. I loved to have a good time. I was probably known for being a partier and for probably hanging out with the wrong crowd, but I instantly made a change in my life. And I remember this like vivid memory of going to this party towards the end of my graduation. And I was sitting at this party, and this girl looked at me, and she was like, Rich, I don't know what it is. She's like, you're the same. And then she said this, but you're different. She said, you're the same, but you're different. Have you ever experienced that expression, or have you ever had that kind of experience? She was absolutely correct. I was the same old Rich, but I was different. And I just think in leadership, there's something to that we're called to be the same, but different. And I'm using that today because I think we live in a world, if I'm being honest with you, I try to use myself, like that we are addicted to new. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like the latest and the greatest, like bigger is better and upgrade upon upgrade. Like I can't even keep up with all the upgrades these days. Like if you get an app on your phone, like, oh my gosh, like how many times can they update the app? Like I'm always behind. You ever try to like get the new iPhone and you finally save up all your money to get the new iPhone, only to find out that as soon as you finally paid all your money for the new iPhone, a mortgage payment, it's like, oh my God, there's a brand new iPhone coming out. I'm already behind again. How about like shoes? Like today I've got I thought I had like the newest off-white shoes on. Oh no, there's a new pair of off-white shoes on. The only way I can keep up to date is like watching Eric is like Instagram. Like I don't know. I can't keep up with how many versions. I thought I had the new Yeezys. No, there's a newer pair coming out. Netflix, this is me. Like, is anyone like, is this where you're at with Netflix? That like, if something's not made in 2018, you're like, that's old, I'm not watching that. Anyone else like that? Like I go, I'm like, 2016, it can't be good, it can't be good. There's always like something new. There's always something better. There's always something that I should be watching or something that I should be getting. And listen to me, I'm not against new by any means. I like new. In fact, I just discovered Amazon Prime. And it's a whole bunch of new content there for me. I love it. I'm by no means against new. I just wonder today, though, if we're living in a culture today that by default is damaging our discipline to do the same thing long enough that we could ever experience growth, greatness, or a harvest. Now, I've just been thinking about it a whole lot because when I look at my life, what I discover over and over again is that so many good things that have happened to me in my life have not come from me doing a new thing, but rather have come from me doing the same thing. And I don't know what it is, but it just kind of seems like just the connotation of the same is always bad. It's like, oh, more of the same. You ever heard people say that? More of the same. And many times I think people, they hate the same. Why is it that we don't like the same? For me, like I'm just being honest. Like, I look at my life. What's happened in my life is that I've done the same thing over and over and over and over again, and it has brought new opportunities, it's brought harvest, it's brought growth. I'm telling you, greatness takes time. Growth takes time. Your dream has to develop. I think for the past 12 years, it's funny, like I've had the same spouse. It's going pretty good. I've been in the same city. I've had the same dream. The dream hasn't changed. I've had the same mission, the same call. I've been doing the same task 12 years. And what I've learned in all of that is that doing the same has created new opportunities. Listen to me. I love what Eugene Peterson said because he's got it down. You've heard me say it so many times. He talks about perseverance and he says, perseverance is a long obedience in the same direction. Some of us today, we get so caught up in new that we begin to diminish and we begin to take for granted doing the same. And here's what I want to say today. This is kind of like my premise. There's nothing wrong with new as long as you aren't using it as an escape from the same. I want to get this into young leaders today. I want to get this into our church. There's nothing wrong with new as long as you aren't using it as an escape from the same. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, because this is what we do. Like, I'm not against new. I want upgrades. I want to get better. New is cool. But I think sometimes we just use it as an escape. This is how shopping works, by the way, right? Have you ever done this before? Like, you're like having a bad day. You're like, oh, you know what I need? I need a new shirt, you know? Or I need some new shoes. And I don't know what it is, but we put on new shoes and we go, oh my goodness, I feel so new. You know you're not new, right? You're the same old you in a pair of new shoes. And this is what we do. We do this in all sorts of categories of our life. What we do is we trade the same and we try to upgrade to new, but new doesn't make you new. It just makes the thing around you new. And so people, what do? They go from job to job in search of new. People go from relation to relationship, hoping that the new will be the right thing. People go from church to church because they think new is where they'll hear from God. People go from dream to dream, hoping that new is going to improve their calling. But I'm telling you what, it's not going to change it. What if new is not what you need? What if it's simply just doing it differently? What if it's just doing it differently? Same, but different. Same, but different. We've been doing the same meeting for 4 years, but differently. Do you know that today is the largest team leaders meeting we've ever had in the history of Blue Church? I think we can clap better than that. Come on, somebody. And someone might be sitting here right now getting inspired, going, this is amazing. How did all this happen? It happened because we've been willing to commit to the same, but different. Same, but different. Same, but different. I like this story we read about this guy named Noah. And if you're new to church, let me just try to reel it in because it's sort of a bizarre story, if I'm being honest with you. Old Testament. That's why you got to read the New Testament as well. Otherwise, it's like, God, you know. But this Old Testament story of this guy by the name of Noah is that Noah is on the earth in a day when people, as Erica so eloquently read it, have become evil, 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 evil. They think evil, they talk evil, they're evil, evil, evil. So much so that we know that God looks down upon mankind and is actually sorry that he created humanity. You see, God created humanity not to have robots, but he created humanity for relationship with us. And when we don't give him glory, it's the only thing that he created us to do. And so as he looks down upon it, this is before Jesus, before the new covenant, he's like, I'm gonna actually there's gonna be a consequence for this. And so he decides he's going to flood the earth. And as he looks down upon humanity, the thing that he sees is that there's something, I like the word there, something different about Noah. Noah's the same guy, he's in the same place, he's in the same environment, but he's different from everyone else around him. And so what does God do? God says, I'm gonna spare you, I'm gonna use you, I'm gonna spare you and your family. Here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna give you a mission, I'm gonna give you a task. I want you to build an ark. And as you build that ark, that thing that you're building is gonna be the thing that's going to save you from the corruption and the disaster that's about to come to this land. And we know the story, but the story's wild to me because most scholars actually believe, as they studied the Bible back then, that they hadn't even seen rain on the earth yet. And here's Noah with his family, and they start to build a boat. And everybody around him began to ridicule him. Everyone around him began to laugh at him, going, what in the heck are you doing? And to take it even further, to build that boat, that massive ark, most scholars believe it took anywhere from 20 years to 75 years. So I want you to get the picture of this, that every day this man wakes up, never seen rain before. And every day, based upon a word from God, he gets out and he does the same task over and over and over and over and over again. Not for a day, not for one season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, but the same thing over and over and over again. But it was that same thing that he was doing that created the opportunity for his salvation. I just look at our church today, and I believe that God's calling us to build something great. I believe God's calling us to build something healthy. Yet I want to make sure that as we continue on the journey, as we're moving into our fall season, I want to make sure I'm looking at leaders, and I want to make sure I'm speaking to the questions that happen in our heart at times, that sometimes while we're doing the same, we get frustrated. While we're doing the same, we get tired. While we're doing the same, it's not happening fast enough. And so a lot of us, we run away, we try to escape. But I want to encourage us today that we don't have to do anything new. We just got to keep doing the same thing, but we got to do it differently. Same, but differently. Same, but differently. And I don't know what that looks like for the space that you're in right now. But more and more that I'm a part of church, it's like I'm trying constantly. This is why you're here today, because I want to make sure that we're saying the same thing, that we're doing the same thing. And as we grow, things have got to be different, but we get so fixated on new. I'm telling you, it's not the new thing that you need. It's actually doing the same thing, the right same thing over and over and over again. Noah does this same thing, 20 to 75 years. And I think there's 3 things that I see about Noah. I could give you some more, but I think they apply to you and I as well. And I want you to write these down because I think this is going to help you today at your job. This is going to help you for sure in your marriage or your future relationship. This is going to help you for sure on your team with leaders. But I want you to get these 3 thoughts down. Number 1, when you look at Noah, it's the same scene, but different perspective. It's the same scene, but different perspective. Sometimes what happens in life is that we get caught in a scene. And as we're in that scene, it starts to really challenge us. It starts to be difficult. It starts to be hard. And many times, maybe that scene is requiring you to sacrifice. Maybe it's a scene full of pain. Maybe it's a scene right now that you feel like you're isolated, that you're forgotten. And what a lot of us do is a lot of us in that scene, we go, you know what? I don't like this scene. I need to go get a new scene. I like movies a lot. I don't like movies nearly as much as Luke Berry likes movies. Luke Berry, if you ever want a good movie recommendation, you don't need to go to Rotten Tomato. You don't need to go to IMDb. You don't need to go to the internet. Just come and have a conversation with this man because he will bring you some films, you know? But Luke and I, we love watching movies. But one of my favorite things about movies, like I like to buy the movie. I'm still a guy who buys movies. I know it's like old, you know. But I buy movies and then I like to watch like all the extra features. You know, anyone like watching deleted scenes? I don't know. I just like watching. I like watching like director's commentary. You know, how cool would it be to like watch your life with God, like directing, like Rich, you should have turned left if you would have $1 million. Like you know, I don't know. Like I don't know. He's directing our paths, but deleted scenes, like when you watch them, most of us know that like when you watch deleted scenes, you're like oh yeah, like that shouldn't have been in the movie, or if that was in the movie, that wasn't going to really make the movie that much better. Typically, the reason why the scene is deleted is because it's frivolous. It doesn't matter much. You know what you never see in the deleted scenes? You never see the sacrifice in the deleted scenes. You never see the pain. You never see the struggle in the deleted scenes. Why? Because all of those things are what is making the story so good. And a lot of us in this place, what we keep doing is we're going, you know what? I need a new scene. But I'm here to tell you, you might not need a new scene, but you probably need a different perspective. Like if you could embrace this this scene right now that's hard and difficult, if you'll lean into it and change your perspective around, I'm telling you, it's gonna become the best part of the story that God is telling in your life. You don't need a new scene, but you do need a different perspective. When I was growing up in Washington, I used to sit in this classroom and we used to have these big windows and I would sit there, I remember in the 5th grade, and out this big window, there was Mount Rainier. We don't have any mountains in Miami. You ever drive by the, one time when I first moved to Miami? Yeah, when I first moved to Miami, I saw these big hills. I was like, Mom, there is mountains. She's like, no, that's the dump. I was like, I had no idea. I was like, dang it, can we ski on those? No, you don't want to ski on those. But when I was a little kid, I used to sit in my classroom and I used to close one eye and I'd put my thumb up to my eye, and it was amazing because I could cover all of Mount Rainier with just my thumb. But how many of you know that Mount Rainier was much larger than my thumb, but rather it was just a matter of perspective. It was the angle that I was taking. For the closer you get to Mount Rainier, you discover how big, how large it actually is. A lot of you today, in order to change your perspective, you need to get a new angle on the thing you're looking at. Maybe today you're so close to your problem that your problem seems so big, but if you could back away from your problem just a little bit, you would discover the problem is actually manageable. You need a new perspective. You know that like drama diminishes with space. Some of us as leaders, the reason why we have so much drama is because we're just so close to we just carry our problem everywhere. I like it how Mark Batterson says it. He says it this way. He says, change of place plus change of pace equals change of perspective. So I just got back from vacation. And I think vacations are really, really meaningful and they really matter. I think that you should, if like work is really important, rest is really important as well. And I could tell you so many fun stories. One of my favorite stories is that on this vacation, I taught my son Wyatt how to go under the water. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm at this pool in Idaho, and there's this couple that's there, and the friends that I'm with, they know this couple. And this couple gets in the pool, and they go, oh yeah, that's Ryan, and that's his baby boy. He's a year old. And so I watch this dad get in the pool, and he's got his son who's a year old. And as soon as he gets in the pool, he gets in, and he dunks him right under the water. I was like, dang. I was like, dang, just kid's only 1 year old? I'm like, go get Wyatt. I was like, he's only 6 months, but dang, man. I got Wyatt, went, boom, put him underwater, brought him back up. I was like, you good? He was great. He's great. So he learned how to go underwater. It was the best part of vacation for me. Yesterday I was swimming with Luke and Fran, and I showed him like 4 times, like, okay, Rich, it's kind of getting crazy, you know? But you know what's amazing is coming back from that vacation, I can't explain to you like how my perspective has shifted. I've come back, I'm more excited than ever. I feel healthier than ever. I got vision all around me. Ideas just keep coming to me. I feel like I can't even get it out fast enough. There's just so many things I want to do, so many things that I want to accomplish. If any one of you have been in a conversation with me since I've been back from vacation, you're like, this guy is killing me because he's got 28 things that I need to do. And guess what I did? I simply changed my pace and I changed my place. And with it, I got a brand new perspective. That's it. And so changing your place doesn't mean you got to move. Changing your pace doesn't mean that you need to quit your job. You can do that tomorrow. Work out at night instead of in the morning. Take your meeting at the coffee shop rather than that same dumb room you always do the meeting in. Try taking a new route to work. Do something different, because as you do something different, you're gonna bring on a brand new perspective. You don't need a new scene. You gotta walk out the scene that you're in, and as you walk out the scene that you're in, I'm telling you, God will give you a different perspective. You look at Noah, and like Noah is just the man, dude. Noah goes every day, 20 years to 75 years, and he's building this ark, the same thing over and over and over again. People are ridiculing, people are laughing at it, but there he is just doing the same thing, the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. How did he do it? It's because he got a word from God. What it tells me is that perspective is less about eyesight and it's more about the condition of our heart. Because the word from God, how many know the Bible says this? We don't walk by sight, we walk by faith. So as I'm talking about perspective right now, I'm not talking about a real physical angle of your eyesight. I'm talking about the posture and the condition of your heart. For Noah, he got one word from God and he took it to the bank. And so it did not matter what came around him. The reason why he was able to walk out the dream, the reason why he was able to walk out the mission was because his perspective was changed. See, he did not have a physical perspective. A physical perspective is based upon where you are, what you see, what you feel, what you hear. But rather, he had a prophetic perspective. And a prophetic perspective is simply based on one word from God. You get a word from God and you don't let anybody get in the way of that word. Those of you new to this meeting, the way VOO Church began was a prophetic word from God. We heard what he said to do, and we've just done it, and God continues to grow it, continues to build it. Same, but different. I got the same scene, but I got a different perspective. Write this second one down. I like this one even more. Same position, but different attitude.
Wow, that's great.
Same position, but different attitude. Every one of us in this room, we have positions in life. Whether you want to admit that or not, we all have positions. Maybe wife, husband, father, mother, son, daughter, employee, boss, team leader, church goer. We've got positions. And what happens to us sometimes in life is that we start to get really, really frustrated with our position. And so what do? We go, oh man, this position's bad. And so you know what? I need a new position. But more and more, as I study people and as I watch life unfold, what I learn over and over and over again is that the position is not the problem, the person is the problem.
Yeah, that's great.
And I wrote it down this week in my journal. When you're fixated on the wrong position, it delays you from becoming the right person. When you're fixated on your wrong position, it delays you from becoming the right person. It delays you from becoming the right person. You know what I've learned? Like the right people don't care about position. People who do great things don't care about positions and titles. Because anybody who has half a brain understands that positions come and go, positions change. But being the right person is everything. Whenever I'm building a team, I'm always looking for the right people. I want to find the right person. The position, man, if I get the right people, I don't have to worry about positions because you're on the journey. You're the right guy. You're the right woman. Positions can come in front of you, but you're the right person. See, what people know that are the right people is they know that testimony is more important than title. This is big. This is big. You got to get this. We have to learn this as leaders, is that testimony is more important than title. As I go out I look at my life, all of my titles haven't gotten me very far. I'm just telling you, like some people are living for a title. I'm not living for a title. I'm living for a testimony. Two totally different goals, two totally different aims. Title, author, has never done anything for me. Title, producer, never done anything. Title, pastor, never opened any type of door. If it did, it wasn't anything. What's opened doors for me is the fact that people on my behalf have said, I know Rich, and his life is one that's true. It's one that's honest. You can bank on the words that he's saying. You don't need a title. You need a testimony. What are others saying about you? What are you saying about yourself? I think titles and positions are fake. I just do. Because if you're the right person, you don't need that stuff. Look, right people. This is what I've learned about them over and over again. If you're a good leader, it probably means you're a good follower. I've never met a great leader who wasn't a good follower. Because the only way you step into leadership is by first following. And even when you're in leadership, you still know that you have a position, once again, that you're following somebody. If you can steward God's property, you're going to get your own property. If you can steward somebody else's dream, God can trust you to steward your own dream. If you're great with no title, oh my God, you're going to be amazing with a title. These are Jesus' words, by the way. Look what Jesus says, Luke chapter 16, verse 10. Let's pass the microphone over to Carissa. Come on, Carissa's going to read this one for us. Carissa, can you see it from all the way over there? Oh, you got it right there too, behind you. Read this one, this is good.
Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. promised with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? And if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own?
It's good stuff right there. That's Jesus' words about stewardship of something small. And what I hear in all of that as he's talking, he's like, yo, you're living for a position, but positions come and go. What you need to make sure is that you're the right person. Yeah. And so today, you don't need a new position, you need a different attitude. Yeah. Same position, but different attitude. I love attitude. You see, attitude is not automatic. That's why we can't talk about it enough. Because you don't just some people are like, oh, that's just their personality. No. The right attitude requires you to be intentional every single day. It just does. It's not an automatic thing. It's something that you have to focus on and be intentional. I'm gonna bring the right attitude. I've heard so many leaders say attitude is everything, and I just believe it. Because if you take on the right attitude with a little bit of talent, I'm telling you, you can go really, really far in this life. Yet attitude is derived from perspective. So when you're seeing things from a healthy vantage point, when you've changed your pace, when you've changed your place, and you've got a new perspective going on, I'm telling you what, that's gonna create the right attitude in you. And the right attitude is always the attitude of gratitude. That when you're thankful, God, thank you so much. I'm not gonna wait till I feel thankful. I'm not gonna feel my way into thankfulness. I'm gonna act my way into thankfulness. I don't need somebody else to remind me. I don't need God to give me a burning bush. All I gotta do is look around this room and discover I am thankful to be here. Attitude's not automatic. But the right attitude is contagious. I used to live over here on 30th and Biscayne, and maybe some of you guys have witnessed the best attitude in the world. There's this woman, because 30th and Biscayne, on the corner there's a Papa John's Pizza, and then there's a vape smoke shop. Is that what they call it these days, Erica? Vape smoke shop? Yeah. She had a huge smoking career. I don't want to talk about it, but. And we used to work down at 900 Biscayne, and so I would drive home from Biscayne Boulevard, and this woman every day would be out in the street with this sign. And she'd be trying to get you to go to the vape smoke shop. And she'd be, hey! And I'm telling you what, after a year of seeing this woman, I don't smoke, but if I did, I know exactly where I would go. I'm like, this woman is contagious. But check this out, one night I ordered a pizza from Papa John's, and the knock came to my door, and when I opened the door, it was the same woman from the smoke shop. I said, wait a minute. I said, I think I know you. She said, oh yeah. It's 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, I go, aren't you the girl from the smoke shop? She's like, yeah. I was like, hold on, you work at the smoke shop and Papa John's? She said, yeah, I work at the smoke shop in the day and I work at Papa John's at night. I said, guess what? You're about to get the best tip I've ever given in my entire life, because that attitude right there is the attitude that I need. Because regardless of your position, I'm telling you what, you have a different attitude, and that attitude is attractive. Some of us, you think your position is gonna make you who you always wanted to be. It's not. It's the attitude that you carry. I love Noah. Just think about Noah. You can read the Bible. Noah goes out 20 to 75 years building an ark. And all day long, people come out and they ridicule him and they make fun of him and they call him crazy. Yet Noah had decided in his heart, I don't care about my position. You can call me crazy today, but I have a different attitude. And therefore, my family and I, we're going to continue to build this ark. And he began to spread his attitude within his family. And even though he was surrounded by the wrong attitude, he did not let it contaminate him. I think it's so important at VOO Church, especially in this room. I can tolerate a lot of stuff outside of this room, but in this room, I'd never want to tolerate a toxic attitude, a negative attitude, because I'm telling you what, that stuff is contagious. And we should not allow the wrong attitude into these places. Positions come and go, but we're gonna always take on the right attitude. Come on, somebody, anybody got the right attitude today? It's attractive. If a girl at the vape shop can inspire me, what could you do with a pop sign? Come on now. You don't need a new position. It's the same, but different. I'm saying, but I got a different attitude. And I stand out because of it. Last, I want you to write this one down. This is a good one. Same responsibility, but different commitment. Same responsibility, but different commitment. It's funny because life, we've got so many different responsibilities. In fact, if we're getting serious for a moment, if we're getting honest right now, there's a lot of you in this room who right now, the responsibilities of your life, you're like, oh my gosh, this is too much for me to bear. This is too difficult. This is too challenging. This is too hard. I can't fulfill all these responsibilities. You know what I need? I need a new responsibility. I need to let go of these ones and get a new one. I need to escape. I'm tired of the same. I need something new. But over and over again, what you'll find and what you'll discover is that all of us in this place, you'll never, ever, ever be able to fulfill your responsibilities with a divided heart. And division doesn't first show up in your mouth and in your actions. Division lingers for a long time in your mind and in your heart. This is why over and over again, we must guard our heart, for it's the wellspring of life. And what I actually believe, and this might kind of annoy you, and this might kind of like, don't go there, Rich, but I actually believe that everybody in this room, you still have more capacity. You can actually handle more. You can take on more. Rich, don't eat. Why even? This was good up until here, man. I can't take on one more thing. Or I'm going to say about me, I can handle more. I can take on more. I can do more. I don't need new. It's the same responsibilities, but you know what I need to do? I need to double down on my commitment. I have to double down on my commitment because you'll never be able to fulfill your responsibilities if you're divided. But when you get committed, heart and soul, it's amazing what you can begin to take on. When Dawn and I first moved to, Dawn came a year after me, but we went to Bible college in Cleveland, Tennessee, at the school called Lee University. And I remember I got there like in August, like right around now, would have been like start of the year. And the first day I was there, like some sophomore kids were like, hey bro, do you want to go out to the rope swing? And I'm like, dude, I'm from Miami. Like, what? This is some real backwoods stuff, you know? I'm like, all right, like, is there a mall, you know? And so my friend Jordan, who'd come into school with me, he was with me, and we drove out into these like backwoods of like Tennessee, and we climbed up into these hills, and there on this river was this big tree that had this big rope on it. And you would get up on this like cliff, and if you can imagine, you'd jump out on this rope and you'd swing out, and then you would let go of the rope and you'd jump into the water. And it really wasn't like that difficult, but it did require you to do one thing. That was commit. You actually had to jump out, and you actually had to hang on, and at the right time you had to let go. I mean, anyone here could do it, but you can't do it if you hesitate, and you can't do it if you don't jump out, and you can't do it if you don't hang on. And so I went and I did it, and I was like, oh, okay, that was awesome, and it was really fun. So I was like, Jordan, my friend Jordan. I was like, bro, you gotta do it. He's like, I don't know, man. I was like, no, you can do it. He's like, I don't know, man. Anyone love peer pressuring your friends? Yeah. So I'll never forget it. Poor Jordan gets this rope, and his knees are shaking. He's so scared. And all of a sudden, they're like, 1, 2, 3, and he just like kind of falls. And I literally thought we lost him that day, man. He barely made it into the water. He just crashed and burned. Wow. And looking back on it, we laughed for days because after we figured out he was alive. But looking back on it, as we talked about it, he's like, you know what I did? I failed to commit. You ever seen someone try to do a backflip who hasn't committed to that? Like, I think you can't hesitate. You can fulfill this responsibility, but you're gonna have to fully commit. See, just because you're present doesn't mean you're committed. I know a lot of uncommitted marriages. A lot. You can be in a marriage that does not mean you're committed to that marriage. I know a lot of people who claim to love working out, but they are uncommitted. I know, come on, we all know uncommitted churchgoers. People always get so impressed, man, how do you change a city? How do you make an impact? How do you build a church? It's not that difficult. The difficult thing is getting a room like this to all get and say, you know what? We don't need new responsibilities. We've got the same responsibility, but I'm telling you, a different commitment. Just get committed. Just get committed to it. Some of you right now, you're like, well, I'm not committed because what I'm doing is not very interesting. Listen to me. That which you're doing becomes interesting the moment you begin to invest in it. Investment increases interest. So if you're in a spot right now, you're like, oh my goodness, like I would get committed, but it's just not that interesting. Your marriage gets a whole lot more interesting when you get invested into it. Your body, like health-wise, it gets a whole lot more interesting the moment you get invested into it. 21 days of prayer and fast, that's what we're learning right now, right? Like, isn't it wild how stuff just starts getting a lot more interesting? Not because there's something really, really like publicity going on or some big marketing ploy, but simply for the fact that you should start getting invested. You're like, I'm interested in this thing. If you want to pique your interest, you have to heighten your investment. If you want to pique your interest, you have to heighten your investment. When I was in Bible college, this is awful, but in Bible college, I got wrapped up in one season. Tanner was there with me. He knows all about it. I got involved in a little bit of a sports betting racket for a bit. Anyone else ever do a little sports betting? Mo, come on, you were there with me one time. Come on, up, Sean, he's back there, he's honest. Sports bettor? Still rich, still am rich. Recovering. Well, I wasn't a lot of money, but I bet some money, but it was funny. Hey, Jeff for sure. The tattoos have got a story. I make fun of people I love. It's very, very dark and manipulative. But it was funny because like I'll never forget it because I learned a valuable lesson, and that was like we used to do these things called like parlays where you'd like bet on multiple games, and I never won. Like I lost so much money. When I say lost money, like $250, a lot of money. But I'm just going. I don't want you to think like I had to sell my house, and Don Shree and I were in counseling afterwards. It was one season. But you know what was wild is like I would be betting on these games of teams I didn't even know, but because I had invested. Dude, it was like everybody shut up in my house, get the game on. We're watching Middle State, Tennessee versus like, you didn't even know who the teams were. But I was so interested because I was so invested. It's like the parents in here, like when your kid performs at the recital, like you are out of your mind, camera out, like, oh my God, like nobody cares your kid's a tree, you know? But you're invested in that kid. And so you're interested in that kid. And some of you in this room right now, you're like, I need new responsibility. No, you got the same responsibilities, but you need a different commitment. Different commitment. I love team leaders because team leaders is an opportunity as we're gearing up for season 3 to say, man, what am I willing to invest? How am I willing to commit again? Because no one in this room is gonna be like, hey, by the way, I'm really divided. No, division starts in your heart and in your mind before you speak it out, before your actions even occur. So you have to guard that thing. You have to fight for that thing. You cannot continue to escape to the new because you're afraid of the same. If you'll keep doing the same right thing over and over and over again, but add some different things to it, you're gonna see new opportunities come about. I love this story of Noah. Because here's Noah, and this is the big revelation I got reading his story. He keeps building this ark. He keeps showing up every day doing the same thing, 75 years. I don't think I could do that. I'm inspired by it, but I'm just not sure if that's me. And here he is just building and building and building and building and building. And every day people coming up trying to distract him. Every day people trying to get his attention. Every day people trying to say, you should be doing something new. Why are you doing this? Come to the party. Come on. Don't show up at 5:45 in the morning. Come on. That's silly to keep going to crew again. Come on. That's absolutely insane that you're going to go to VU Care on Tuesday nights and try to actually help people. Do something new. Get into something new. You're still on the Connect Corner after 3 years. Do something new. Do something new. But the difference between Noah and all of them is that Noah had gotten a word from God, and he got so committed to the work that as he started to invest his hands, invest his lumber, he said, I cannot be distracted by that which is taking place around me. And I got so convicted because this is who I want to be. I don't want to listen to what everybody else is saying around me. I don't want to look at Instagram for inspiration. I don't want to get caught up in Instagram with what other people are doing. I want to build. I want to lay my life down. And I want to say, God, I'm so focused on what you called me to build that I'm committed and nothing is moving me from that commitment. Come on, somebody. Give God a shout of praise. Come on.